It is now precisely 7 o'clock.
Springbok Radio presents World News and Africa Survey.
Good morning. Today is Wednesday, the 15th of October 2025. My name is Wynand de Tooy, and I greet you all here from the Great Orange River in South Africa. By popular request, I've decided to broadcast a video made in English every Wednesday morning, and that is to reach a larger audience and to make it possible for people who is not living in South Africa but who empathize with our cause and what we stand for and the needs that we as a white minority in South Africa might require. I am a former officer, Lieutenant Colonel in the former South African Special Forces. I participated during the border war. I was captured in Cabinda, Angola, and I spent 837 days in solitary confinement as a prisoner of war in that country. I was released in exchange for 132 Angolan soldiers, one French citizen and one Dutch citizen in Maputo on the 7th of September 1987. And since then I've been involved in various exercises, endeavors. I had been farming in South Africa, Namibia, also back to Angola and in the Congo, Brazzaville, Congo. And it's after my return from Brazzaville, Congo, where I spent a long time, a couple of years, and where I also started writing my books, of which I have the 10 until this date, published 10 books, which will tell, of course, my life story. More or less 10 years ago, South Africa started to undergo a change in attitude, a change in the approach, and a gradual rise in racial tension, mainly because of what politicians are telling the masses, what they are proclaiming from public stages, like Julius Malema, kill the farmer, kill the boer, one settler, one bullet, Peter Mokaba, and even President Cyril Ramaphosa's own words in which he said it's time to change to Africa economics. We noticed this change and we realized that the ANC government is on a disastrous track and that there will eventually be nothing left of this country. Infrastructure is being destroyed. Everything is being burned down. The parliament in South Africa, with the latest incident for Fort Hare University in the Eastern Cape that was burned down. And whenever there is people, masses, who is unhappy about service delivery by the elected government, they turn to destroying everything that they can. burning, looting, killing. We have saw the systematic disruption of the railway services, how the buildings, once beautiful buildings, is being plundered and destroyed. It is hard to recognize the once prosperous country, the most prosperous country in Africa, the country with the largest and most effective military, until 1994, when Nelson Mandela took over the government in South Africa. And that's when we started seeing the gradual descent into chaos, when all this disruptions, this destruction of infrastructure starting to happen. And that's more or less the time when we had long discussions on what the future of South Africa holds for us as a minority white group. And since the COVID pandemic in 2020, thereafter we saw also a gradual rise in hostilities, and on social media the open calls for a white genocide that is happening or implicated in what is being said, and the tension is rising in South Africa. As a former military officer, I'm quite capable of reading the situation, of seeing what is happening, and to start predicting what will be the end result. And the end result in this country, as it is continuing now, will probably be a civil war, unless something drastically happened. And we cannot see our country where the politicians have stolen state money, where corruption is the way of life. It is clear to many analysts that the ANC-led government of national unity is not going to turn the situation around. The money is gone. There's no knowledge left. The racial BBEE policy, black economical empowerment policies, is destroying this country. And we must realize that eventually nothing is going to be left. We can foresee that angry masses will revolt because they are hungry, they are poor, they don't have any income, there's no jobs, over 40% joblessness in South Africa. The situation is deteriorating by the day. And as an Afrikaans-speaking person, born and bred as an Afrikaner, it was a terrific moment when the American President Donald Trump announced his unhappiness with South Africa and the South African government because of their external policies towards Israel, Palestine, Iran, and where he actually demanded that this BBE laws are being retracted or at least lessened. We now found that there's over 140 race-based laws against 14 during the apartheid era and time. We are experiencing more apartheid now in the new South Africa than there was ever exercised apartheid during the apartheid era before 1994. The white minority is being excluded from work opportunities, and the replacement of white knowledge has damaged this country irreversible. But because we know and realize, and everything points to the point of total collapse in South Africa, it is important that we must organize ourselves, because the government, with a failing police force, a failing military, is not going to be able to guarantee the safety of the citizens of this country. And therefore, we need to prepare ourselves for the worst case scenario, a sort of Armageddon situation. If all else fails, we got to be able to look after our people and to protect them in the wild accusations, threats that are being made against us from different platforms. We see a rise in this hate speech currently in South Africa, especially after the Donald Trump announcement, where several Afrikaners was taken to the United States and are still going. But this is South Africa, this is our country. We might be white, but our forebears came from France, Britain, Dutch, the Netherlands, of course, and many other nations, Germans, to South Africa because we were persecuted by the Catholic Church in Europe. And we had to move out to South Africa, where we arrived around about 1652, when the first Westerners settled on the land in the Cape. And from there on, we was forced to fight for survival against the British domination. Later on, against certain black tribes coming down from the north. They did not occupy this land. We did not steal it from them. To a large extent, we were the first settlers, apart from the Bushmen and the Khoi and the San. But of this larger black tribes, Zulus, Xhosas, and the Balis, they all arrived at a very much later stage. The point is, not everybody in South Africa wants to admit that this once thriving country might eventually collapse. But at least we must have an idea in the back of your head, a plan on what to do if all else failed, if diplomacy has failed, if politics has failed, if court actions has failed. When they start expropriation of land without compensation, taking away our firearms, it will be a clear sign for us that there's difficult times ahead. And in this morning, I urge all of you to be wide awake and to be aware of where South Africa is going. And the Lord permitted, I will try to make an English video And you can hear that it's not my first language. And it's sometimes difficult to get on the correct words, to find the correct words. But eventually it will go better. We'll try to continue with this. If you like this video, please subscribe, press the like button, and forward it to your friends who cannot understand my Afrikaans videos. I will slowly bring this channel or this English part of my channel up to date to the point where we can discuss ordinary happenings every day in South Africa as well as the rest of the world. Because nothing in the world happened in isolation. And we got to accept the fact that the situation in the United States, in the Middle East, in Eastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, the protests that we see in Germany, France, Britain, will eventually have a direct influence on the situation in South Africa. And it is as if the whole world is moving in the wrong direction. And we have to be prepared for the worst. Have a nice day, and the Lord permit, I will talk again to you in English next Wednesday. Have a pleasant day and a pleasant week ahead.